Today, I want to talk about how you can get better ad results for your clients when making their creative. So much of what we do when we're making creative for paid media is led by data that it makes sense that we need to understand it and what it does and why we even need it. My past is in filmmaking, where the only thing I care about is a story. So when I started working in paid media, I had to learn all this stuff, and it was like learning a completely separate job. And it wasn't as easy as it is now. From writers to editors to the actual videographers, every single stage of production needs to know how to read ad data and how that ad data can affect your job. That's why at Fraggle we use this incredible software called Motion. Today's video is actually sponsored by Motion, just to be completely transparent. We already used it before they approached us, so it's just a bonus that I get to work with great people. I want to show you how incredible it is to use as a creative. I'm not a media buyer. I don't claim to be a media buyer, but I'm a creative. I run a creative team. We make ad creative. So how can we use Motion in order to guide us to get better results for our clients? So the number one reason why I absolutely love Motion is it's visual. I'm a visual learner. I'm a visual person. And so I cannot stand looking at charts and graphs. I can't. It hurts my brain. So when I'm looking at something like Facebook Ad Manager, it's just so confusing, and I have dyslexia and problems with numbers. So all in all, I just want a bar chart. I just want some colorful things to, my ADHD brain can't deal with like tables. And so what Motion does really well is it puts all the important information that you need into a visual way that anyone can understand. This is especially important when you're bringing in people that have no idea how to read ad data. If I put my writer in front of Facebook Ad Library, they would have no idea what they're looking at. If I put them in front of a Motion page, well, they're going to understand it because it's so incredibly straightforward. Motion have some incredibly easy dashboards that you can create, and you can also have different views per dashboard. My favorite one is the creative driven card view. This basically allows you just to see what's important for your team in a really creative and visual way, which is so important. When we make creative, and I'm sure when you make creative for your clients, you might be making different types of creative. Could be images, it could be UGC, it could be high production value stuff. We do all of those at Fraggle, and a lot of the time, it's very difficult for us to know what is performing best, or when we're looking at their old ad data to see what format has worked best for them, because this can inform your decisions, right? There's no point making static ads if they've never had a static ad perform ever. So that's where grouping data comes in. Essentially, what you do is you can group all your types of creative, whether UGC or glossy ads, for example, and inside Motion, you can group them all together and you can see the overall data, which is just like I'm looking at it now and it's incredible. But most importantly, you can see at a glance, that's right, a glance, not delving deep into data. You can see at a glance what creative style is performing best. If you compare this to the experience on like Facebook Ad Manager, well, this experience doesn't exist. So it's pretty hard to compare. Basically, Motion is better. But like I mentioned before, you can set up dashboards and reports to find out the information that you need very quickly, and you can save those reports so you can easily access them and they're constantly updated. One of my favorite ones that I have is the top creatives. Simply put, here you can see where your money was spent versus the ROAS, and you can even change it to like CTR and stuff, because we want to see the money going in and what return that is getting for our client, right? So this is kind of very top level almost, but it gives your team a very quick understanding of what creative is performing best. That's the biggest question we always get asked, and now we have an answer for it. This is normally the dashboard that my team use the most, because this allows us to quickly see what's working, what's not, and the results that go with that, such as click-through rate. Because a lot of our creative work is made by variation, so we're delivering them maybe 6 core adverts, but then we're delivering a load of different hooks or a load of different, middles of the advert. So what we want to look at, one of the main things we look at anyway, and we have this set up in Ad Manager as a custom section. I've made a video about that. I'll link it up in the card somewhere, but we want to know the hook rate, right? We want to know how well is this performing to hook people in. And so this dashboard that I have set up shows me the thumb stop rate versus the click-through rate. So we can see what's working and what's not. Does the high click-through rate necessarily mean that we're getting a good click-through rate? Sometimes that's not always the case. So just looking at your thumb stop rate can be kind of misleading sometimes. We've had adverts with an incredible thumb stop rate of like 30%, but it hasn't led to many clicks. So in that case, it's hooking people, but we need to do something else in order to get people to actually click through. This is where reading your data helps you get better results for your clients, because you can see this and you can make changes and make adaptations to the creative so that then they're seeing those better results. Again, I've talked about this before, but hold rate is so important, because past the first 3 seconds, the story can completely change. If people are dropping off after they've watched 3 seconds and they haven't clicked, well, what's the point, right? Hold rate is so important, especially with products or services where people need a lot of information that you can't present to them in 3 seconds. It's much easier for a customer to understand in the first 3 seconds the benefits of a protein bar over, let's say, a mental health service, right? There's so much that goes into explaining that second example than it does to a protein bar. So we need to make sure that hold rate is up there as well, and that's what this dashboard does. Now, if you're a creative and you're here because you want to get better results for your clients, you're probably here because your clients have said at some point or another that the creative isn't working. It's not bringing them the results that they want. So what do you do at that point? Well, let me inform you about the number one thing that I look at first, and it's how well is the creative working versus the landing page, because sometimes the creative can be getting those clicks, i.e. the creative's doing its job, but then there's something going on the landing page. They're hitting the landing page and they're dropping, they're off there, they're done, right? So it's not leading to a purchase. How do we find that out? Well, Motion has a little fix for us, because they have the creative versus landing page dashboard, which is basically allowing you to find out where the problem is. Is it the creative or is it the landing page? If the click-through rate is high and the click-to-purchase ratio is low, then that means that the creative is working. That means that you can tell your client, hey, seems like the creative's actually working, so maybe we can look at the landing page and make some adaptations. Maybe we can put our creative on the landing page. There's a bit more symmetry there. There's a lot of ways that you as a creative can help them get a better landing page. This is probably my number one most used dashboard, because we get that question all the time. The creative isn't working out, and I want to find out where the problem is so that I can address it. Because if it is the creative, then we can use our other dashboards like the hook rate or our top creatives to see what's working, why something isn't working. You know the deal, right? You can use a tool like Motion to essentially guide all your creative endeavors. You can see what creative is performing best for your client. You can see how you can make it better using your thumb stop and hold rate. And then you can see where the problems are when they come. Is it the landing page? Is it the creative? And an even better part, and I cannot believe I didn't mention this until sooner, is that you can share all of this with people that aren't using Motion. Yes, that's right. That means your team, it means your clients, anyone. You can just tick what you need, then you can click share, and it creates a shareable link which is available to everyone that you can post on your Slack, in an email, whatever, and you can present your findings and saying, look, these are the top creators for this month. We're going to make more of these. Getting better results for your clients leads to higher client retention, which means that your clients are staying for longer, and that's what we want. We don't want them to come for you for 1 month's worth of work. We want you to come and stay for 6 to 12 months, because that's more recurring revenue and you have more safety in your team, right? You know you can hire more people when you have a contract for 12 months with a client. So using tools like this are a major investment, especially when you're doing creative, but not just creative. Maybe you're a media buyer with, tons of people under you that don't necessarily understand what's going on. It's great for anyone on the team. We've been using it for a few months now, and I think it's great, genuinely. And the best part is you can try it for free. So use the link in the description, have a little gander, have a little use with your team and see how you get on, because I can assure you that you will fall in love with this. But until the next one, thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much, Motion, for sponsoring this video as well. Hopefully you go download it and give it a go, because it will help you. Honestly, it will do. Click subscribe, click like, leave a comment, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.